Hi, I'm Daniel Lutis, and welcome to Food 101. Food, people. Let's talk about food. And today I have my special guest. She's a nutritionist, speaker, and host of the Health After 30 podcast, no other than Miss Alana Bonnemann. Guten Morgen, Miss Alana.
Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I'm
Thank you.
fabulous like you. And can you introduce more about yourself, except the one I gave already?
Absolutely. Daniel, thank you so much for having me on Food 101. It's really nice to see you again. Hi, everyone. I'm Alana Bonnemann. I'm a nutritionist, also studied naturopath, which is actually it's a larger umbrella term over herbal medicine and nutrition. That's the two main things that I kind of work with. But we were talking about just before the show. It's all about holistic health, right? But a
Yes.
cornerstone of my work is nutrition. And I like nutrition because I feel that everyone eats. Everyone eats several
Mm,
times a day. And we can kind of we know the saying, food is medicine, and we can use it as our medicine. So this is where a lot of my passion lies when it comes to healing, when it comes to helping people. It's using the right foods to make them feel that they can thrive.
we're aging every minute, people. So, Miss Alana Bonneman, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world.
It's my pleasure.
So, what is nutrition and why it is important for overall health?
Well, nutrition, I guess. I mean, nutritional science is the science of food. So, everyone knows what's healthy, right? We all know that we're
Mm,
supposed to eat salads, and we all know that omega-3s in fish are good and too much sugar
mm,
is bad. We know this. So nutritional science just backs that up. It just tells us that there is this much vitamin C in a broccoli, and how this food works and what's actually happening in the body and the gut microbiome and everything. So this is what nutrition does. And it's good. It's good that we know this because it just gives us the validation that we need to be eating healthy food. But do you know what, Daniel? One thing that I've realized is everyone knows how to eat healthy, but it's actually the learnt behavior that we get a bit wrong, or the habits that we have. This is where things go a bit off. So it's not only knowing what to eat, but also knowing perhaps the habits to have to eat the right food. And then next to all of that, we're all individual. What works well for your body probably works different for my body, to our neighbors, to our friends. So it's also understanding how to listen to your body and the right foods. Your body's always trying to tell you something. And when you eat something and you flare up, maybe you get a rash, this is your body saying, hey, there was something not okay in that food. And nutritional science will often back that as well. So, yeah, it's a bit of a three-part thing: knowing what to eat, knowing how to eat it, and then understanding and listening to your body to eat the right foods for your body to be in that innate ability to thrive, as we were also talking about before.
certainly. So, what are the six essential nutrients the body needs?
Well, the essential nutrients, we've got your macronutrients. So this is, everyone knows what a carb is, and everyone's fearful of carbs. Everyone's also fearful of fats somehow, but fats, carbs, and proteins, these are the three macronutrients. Equally important. We don't need to fear any of these. Our body needs these, from our mental health to our thyroid health to our digestive health, skeletal health. Everything our body does requires fats, carbs, and proteins. So these are the main things. We also need hydration, obviously. And then we've got our micronutrients. And this is the elements, think vitamins and minerals, zinc, vitamin C, copper, selenium, iodine, all of these other nutrients that the body also needs to thrive on. So we've got all of these, and we should be eating an abundance of them
Mm,
every day. But when I say abundance, if we only eat, for example, carbohydrates, so if we only eat breads and pastas and rice all the time, every single meal, we're going to be a bit off balanced. So
Yes.
this is why people dieting is huge, right? You'll often hear people say, I'm not eating any carbs. And they cut this food group out completely. And yeah, they don't sustain a diet because it's not sustainable because your body kind of needs it. And while it maybe there's, the keto diet, you might have heard of it, your body goes into ketosis and burns fat. We just need to think about how much we're eating of the food. We don't need to cut a food group out. You also don't need to cut fat out. Fat is so important. We just need to decide what fats we're eating. There are better fats than others. And then also moderation. So all very important. And protein, obviously. That's, this breaks down to amino acids, the building blocks for every function in our body. Also very important. I don't know how deep you want me to go there. So I'll just stop there.
Yes. So, Miss Alana, how does a balanced diet contribute to overall well-being?
So let's define a balanced diet first, because I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. What is balanced diet? Balance, I find that word a bit interesting because what is balance? And I think this comes to the third pillar that I was talking about, understanding how to listen to your body. If you are going to eat cake every day at every meal, at some point, your body is going to yell for a salad, maybe, or yell for something else. Equally, if you're only eating salad every day, every meal, your body's going to crave something different. So, first, we need to kind of listen to what our bodies needs. And this can be hard because you might be stressed and you come home from a long day of work and your body says, I need to eat a tub of ice cream on the couch. Is that your body asking for food? Food's never the problem, but is that your body asking for food, or is that your body saying, I'm exhausted and I need something to let that go, let that go. And the ice cream is the kind of the scapegoat. So when we think balance, what I like to do, and people can see this. So if you look at my hands, if you put your hands together, let's put a balanced meal together. Your hands together. This is a plate. We want half of this plate to be vegetables, different colored vegetables, a rainbow, fruit or vegetables. We call this fiber. This is good for our digestive health. The more diversity you have on your plate, the more you have in your gut microbiome. This is where our immune system sits. Our feel good hormones, they sit there too. So we want our gut to be good. The palm size of your other hand, this is a protein. So we're thinking meats or fish, tofu or beans, this much. And then up here, like just a little serving of grains or rice, protein, like a bread or a pasta, or even starchy potatoes, that's considered these good carbs here. And then about a thumb or like a teaspoon size of good fats, olive oil, avocado, walnuts or something. So that's how you kind of put a meal together. And I think sometimes we get, if we go to a restaurant, usually we get, pasta at the bottom or rice at the bottom, and then a little bit of, some meat on top perhaps, and then a little bit of vegetables. That kind of just needs to be flipped around. So the vegetables are the largest part, some meat, and then a little bit of grain up the top. So when I think of a balanced plate, putting a meal together, and a snack is just a small meal, that's what I think of. That's what when I think of a balanced plate of our macronutrients, these, fats, carbs, and proteins, that's what I think. And then to bring in the micronutrients of the minerals and vitamins, we need diversity. Every day we need something different. So that's what I would define as a balanced diet. And all of this is held together with drinking enough water.
Ms. Alana, very well said. Thank you so much
Oh, guys, you're too
for
kind.
this
Stop it.
enlightenment. Thank you so much. So, how does proper nutrition impact mental health and cognitive function?
So coming back to nutritional science, the mental health space is huge. But let's just take one, neurodivergency, ADHD, for example. There are studies out there which have demonstrated, increasing omega-3s. So this is the good fat. This is what you get from fish. It's fish oils. Increasing omega-3s can help with ADHD symptoms, also in children. So we know that there's a connection. Let's take another example. Have you ever heard of the word hangry? It's like when you get so hungry that you're almost angry, and your mood goes from being kind of good to just drastically dropping. And you kind of feel that maybe you're bipolar or you've got this dramatic mood disorder. You might just be hungry. You might
Oh,
just be
yes.
hungry. It's, or maybe you do have maybe there is some sort of mental instability already, or something, I don't want to say mental instability, but maybe there's something already happening. And then when our blood sugars drop, so when we get hangry or hungry, and that turns into hangry, it's going to be heightened because our blood sugars also level. So we need to balance these. And you can eat an apple and your blood sugar levels will rise for a good 20 minutes. They're going to drop after that. You're going to be hungry. Think of this balanced plate. We need to be having that every meal and snack. A snack, again, is a small plate. A snack is not a bag of chips. It's not an apple. It's perhaps like a little amount of chips and a little apple with a side of nuts. Or maybe an egg, let's say, or something dairy. Like that is going to keep your blood sugar levels stable longer. So you're not going to have that crash. And I think sometimes people feel that they might be irrational when they could just be hungry. But this is just two very simple examples. Our whole body wants to be in balance. And usually when one thing is out, and it's also very hard if we don't have, if our mental health is a bit off. If our mental health is a bit off, then, perhaps the way in which we choose to eat foods and make foods, this is also going to be off. So, is it the chicken or the egg? That's sometimes also how I like to think of it. But, I also, just last topic on this, the body is a complete ecosystem. We work together. And so I like to think of it as a functioning organism that's all going together. So, of course, what we eat is going to affect how we feel. If we're getting the right macronutrients, micronutrients, that's going to, for example, help with our thyroid health. This is affecting our mental health, our digestive health. That we know there's a brain-gut axis. It affects our mental health. If we have a healthy gut microbiome, chances are you're going to have a better state of mind. If our gut microbiome is imbalanced from eating the wrong foods or taking too much medication or just, abusing our body, then our mental health is going to reflect that. So there's a lot that can be done, I guess, in that respect.
Definitely. Speaking of mental health, please do support my new baby podcast, Mental Health 101. Our first episode already published today. So please do listen. Mental Health 101. So I'm going to give a applause to myself.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
An important podcast that needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed.
Yes, and Ms.Alana will be one of my contributor for sure. So, what are the main sources of healthy carbohydrates, Ms.Alana?
So I think when people think carbs, they think cakes, pizzas, breads. But a carbohydrate, so we've got two types of carbohydrates. We've got complex carbohydrates and simple. The name complex and simple refers to how easy it is to get into the body. So a carbohydrate is something that breaks down, turns to sugar. Our body uses sugar. Our brain needs sugar. And this is what a carbohydrate does. It breaks down to glucose. If we eat too much and we don't use it, that glucose is going to be stored as fat. So when we think about a carbohydrate, the complex and the simple, a complex carbohydrate is, for example, a vegetable, a fruit, starchy vegetables. And then we've got simple carbohydrates. So you can also call a soft drink a carbohydrate. It's sugar. It's straight sugar. A cake, sugar, but also with for example, flour in it. And then, also our breads and grains, whole grains that would go into the complex, the good carbs. The simple ones, that's a Mars bar. It's sugar. It's Haribo's, cakes, icing. And so when we eat a simple carbohydrate, our body's eating that, the sugar is going straight into our bloodstream. It's going to peak those insulin levels. So we're going to feel good, short, and it's going to drop. You're going to crash. And yeah, if you don't use that, so if you don't go out for a walk, or if you're not using your energy once you've eaten these simple carbohydrates, you don't move, that's just going to store straight as fat. So just to touch on fat, because we talked about it briefly, fat, fat being an essential macronutrient. Fat's so important. Sometime in, I think, the 80s or 90s, the American Heart Association said that, heart disease is rising. It's because of the fat. We need to cut fat. So they took fat out of everything. We've got no fat, low fat diet, 2% fat. If you look at the milks, there's a million different types of no fat milks and yogurts. The thing is, with fat carries flavor. So if you don't have fat in food, how do you get the flavor? You add sugar. So fat's been removed, an essential nutrient has been removed. Sugar, which the body only needs in moderation. We don't need a lot of loaded into our foods. And we wonder why we have this epidemic of obesity. Like, it's no one's fault. It's just that we're eating way too much sugar than we're actually using. And it's in something as simple as yogurt, which people are going to see that as healthy. But if it's laden with sugar, it's not, it's a problem. So let's get back to the carbohydrates. The simple we want, if you're going to focus on the carbohydrate, focus on whole grains, focus on vegetables, focus on fruit. It's a carbohydrate, it's a complex, it takes longer for the body to break down. People would say, but there's sugars in a grape and in fruit. But the thing is, because that sugar naturally is bound with a fiber, like the flesh of a peach, your body has to break that down, has to break all those little particles apart, and then get the sugar. So your body has to work for the sugar. When we eat a Mars bar, your body is not working for anything. It tastes delicious. It tastes good. We want to be able to eat Mars bars. I'm not saying don't eat Mars bars, but we just can't be eating them all the time. And if we are, then let's do it in a clever way. Make sure you're moving afterwards, or having it with a protein, then it's going to balance out those blood sugar levels. There's ways to get around it.
Perfectly said, Ms.Alana. So what would be your advice for those people out there who want to maintain their nutrition?
Well,
Nutrition
what I'm
diet.
seeing over nutrition diet, yeah. So as I said at the start, everyone knows how to eat healthy. And I think when I work with people, like, they know what to do, and they think often it's about discipline. Like, I need to be really strong. I need to cut carbs. I need to cut sugar. I need to cut coffee, cut alcohol, and just eat salads because that's healthy. And that might work for 1 week, 2 weeks. But then maybe, I don't know, Corona happens, or you lose a job, or you just get sick, you get a cold, or someone comes to visit, or you go traveling, and then, that's out of the window. So really, I think what we need to work on is our habits. And for a habit to stick, we need to, before you even pick up a salad or whatever you're planning to eat, you actually need to identify. You need to identify, there's a Venn diagram. It's like the identity of, I eat healthy food. I'm a healthy person who eats healthy food. You need to truly identify with that. Then the process of, because you're a healthy person, eat healthy food, you actually do that. Then the outcome comes of, I'm a healthy person. People just try to eat healthy food, but they don't associate themselves with being healthy, or associate with themselves having that innate ability to heal. So they will often eat all the foods, but their inner dialogue's telling them a different conversation. So, for example, smoking is also a really good one. If you're a smoker and you're trying to give up smoking, and you go to a party and someone says, hey, let's go outside for a cigarette, there's 2 ways that you can answer that. You can answer, oh, I'm trying to quit. No, thanks, I'm trying to quit. Or you can answer, I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. Even if you stop smoking that day, when you say, I'm not a smoker, you're identifying. So your choice of not smoking is because you're identifying with not being a smoker. But when you say, I'm trying to quit, it's like you're still a smoker. You're still identifying with a smoker who's struggling with quitting. So if you put that to food and think about, okay, I want to eat healthy, it's like if you just, I'm trying to eat healthy, I'm trying to eat healthy, but you're not truly identifying with, oh, I'm a healthy person who eats healthy, then it's going to always be a struggle. So, long-winded answer to your question, how do you eat a healthy diet? How do you eat a nutritionist diet? I told you what to do before. Think about your plate, half a plate of vegetables, protein, a palmful of protein, a little bit of whole grains, and some good fats. That's what to do. But how to do that? You need to, it's not sexy, it's not fun. You need to do the work. You need to identify. And if you're in enough pain, or if you can't keep up with the things that you love in life because you physically can't do it, use that as your driving force to start to identify with someone who's healthy and eats healthy food.
So, Miss Alana, what would be your short-term and long-term goals as a nutritionist or as a podcaster?
Oh, so my long-term and short-term goals. Okay. I was thinking for people, but everyone else has their own goals. Everyone has their own individual goals. I mean, I think the reason that I became a nutritionist, the reason that I have a podcast, if I really get to the root of it, I grew up in a household where I was told, I told you before we started recording, your body has the innate ability to heal. Your health is your wealth. That's what I was brought up bringing. This belief is deeply in me. And I think everyone deserves to have good health and feel well and feel energized and feel like just feel good. And there's a lot of things going against us. We've got the food industry, which is selling us all this food. We've got the pharmaceutical industry, which is kind of just, pacifying every symptom that we have. We're not listening to our body. My job, I guess, as a nutritionist, as a naturopath, my broadcasting platform, the Health After 30, is to get this knowledge to people for those who are ready to hear it. Not everyone's ready to hear it. People might have listened to this and just thought, not my thing. But for those who are listening and this resonates and they already have this feeling inside, then it's for them. It's for them. My short-term goal, I guess, is to spread information. My long-term goal, this platform I have, it's, I think, my contribution to making the world a better place through food as medicine, through understanding your body, through getting yourself, you as an individual, in the right place to feel alive, to feel like they want to thrive. I think that's my ultimate goal. And it's a process that I'm learning. I'm learning it myself. It's a practice that I have to do daily. I try to, what did Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see in the world. I live by this. So I'm not perfect. I'm learning what's easy. I'm practicing with my clients what works, what doesn't work. It's a learning process. But after a while, you find out what does work, what's easy, what are the most important things. Because I can tell you, like, nutrition is not about going on a fad diet. We want to make long-term, sustainable, approach to eating well. So I guess that's what it's about, really.
Good luck to your goals.
Thank
Miss
you.
Alana, as you're saying, nutrition resources for women wanting to thrive. Excellent.
It
So, what are the benefits of eating whole foods instead of processed foods?
So if you go into the supermarket,
Miss
um,
Alana?
and turn so a processed food will have an ingredients list on the back, and a
While we're
non-processed
waiting
food
for Miss Alana
will
to
not
reconnect,
have an ingredients
I'm
list on the
inviting you to
back.
please do listen to my other podcast, Book 101 Review, in its fifth season.
Really?
And my feature author of the month of January, Mr.
Mm.
Harry Turtledove, award-winning and best-selling author. And of course, my feature author of the month of February. She is award-winning and best-selling author too, Miss Ravenel.
And
So please do
I
listen.
think everyone
Book 101
deserves to have good health
review.
and feel well
And
and
of
feel
course, my
energized and feel
baby
like just feel
podcast
good.
with Mr. Jimmy
And there's a lot of
Smith,
things going against us. We've got the food
Mental Health
industry, which is selling us all this
101.
food. We've got the
For our
pharmaceutical industry, which
first
is kind of
episode,
just,
we talk
you
about
know,
trauma
pacifying
bonding.
every symptom that we have.
What
We're not
is
all
trauma
listening to our
bonding?
body.
So
My
please do listen
job, I guess,
and
as a nutritionist, as a
tell to the
naturopath,
world that we
my
have Mental
broadcasting
Health
platform, the Health After 30,
101.
is to get this
So
knowledge to
Miss
people for those who
Alana's
are ready to
back.
hear it. Not
I'm
everyone's
just
ready to hear
promoting
it.
my
People might
other
have listened to this and
podcast.
just
No
thought,
worries. No worries.
not my
So
thing. But for
the
those
last
who are
question
listening and this
is, what are the
resonates,
benefits
and
of
they
eating whole
already
foods
have this
instead
feeling
of
inside them, this
processed
is food. It's for
foods?
them. It's for
Okay.
them. So
Before I
my
got
short-term
cut off
goal, I
there,
guess,
I
is
was
to
talking
spread
about
information. My
going to a
long-term
supermarket.
goal, you can pick up a
Yes.
broccoli or an
This
apple.
platform I have,
You can
Yes.
pick up
it's, I think, my
anything that's
contribution to
processed.
making the
Well,
world a better place.
when we talk about processed, we're talking
Through
about highly processed,
food
like
as
ultra
medicine,
processed.
through
Because one
understanding
could
your
argue
body,
that
through
you
putting,
get a
like,
potato,
getting yourself,
you cook
you
them,
as an
you mash
individual
them,
in
and
the
that's a
right
processed
place
potato.
to
That's
feel
it's-
alive.
You've
Yeah,
processed the
exactly.
food to feel
We're
like
talking
they
about
want to
these
thrive.
ultra,
I think that's my
highly
ultimate
processed
goal.
food.
So this is anything that
and it's
kind
a
of comes
process
in a
that I'm
packet.
learning.
I'm learning it
And you can,
myself.
Yes.
it's a practice
Turn the
that I
packet
have to do
around,
daily.
and you can
I
literally
try
see
the ingredients that
what
are
did
on it.
Gandhi say?
Be the
The
change
thing
you
with
want
these
to see in the
highly
world.
processed
I
foods,
live by this.
they're
So
delicious. I'm
so
not
they're very
perfect.
highly addictive.
I'm learning what's easy. I'm practicing with my
They're
clients what works, what
also
doesn't work.
highly
It's a
addictive.
learning
They
process.
also have a long shelf
but
life
after a while,
because
you
they're
find out
designed
what
to be
does
on the
work
shelf
what's
for
easy
months
For
or
long.
what are the
years.
most important
a long
things.
time.
So
Yes.
Tell you,
that's
like,
something's
nutrition is
preserved.
not
I
about
need to
going on a
cough.
fad diet. We want to make long-term
Something's
sustainable,
preserving that.
approach to eating
We
well.
don't want to be
So
eating those foods that
I guess
are
that's what it's
preserved. Like,
about,
it's not going to
really.
preserve our body. It's
Yes.
not the foods that our bodies thrive on.
Thank you.
So, whereas, I mean, if you look on the back of an apple, you'll never get an ingredients list. Whereas, this is why nutritional science comes in. It tells us it's got this much fiber, it's got this much vitamin C, it got this much of that, this, that, and everything else. So, so if you go into the supermarket, the difference is just so drastic. And this, comes back, like,
if you just eat
so
highly
a processed food
foods,
will have an
your body is
ingredients
gonna
list on the back, and
cry
a
for
non-processed
something
food, which is not processed,
will not
vice versa. We
have
need
an
a balance.
ingredients list on
We
the
live in a
back.
world where we have highly processed food. I'm so sorry, I got a tickle.
No worries.
Really? We live in a highly processed world. We're used to it. We can't just cut them out. We need to balance it out. So we need to make sure. We need to make sure that we're enjoying a bit of both. I have a rule, and it's actually not my rule. It's a rule by a guy named Michael Pollan, who writes a very small book called, he writes a few books, but one of them, it's called Food Rules. And it's just different rules that you can live by. You would probably like it. You should do a book review on it, actually. So one of the rules
Sure.
is when you go into the supermarket, shop on the outside of the supermarket, because on the outsides of the supermarket, you walk into a supermarket and usually all around the world, you walk into the fresh fruit and veg, and then maybe you go to the refrigerator stuff. So it's like frozen stuff or cooled stuff.
Yes.
This is all stuff which is going to go off. It's all fresh stuff, which has a short shelf life. It's going to go off. Fruits and vegetables, and also frozen fruits and vegetables. They are the high, like fresh, the freshest as the best, and frozen is relatively high in nutrients. If it's been, if you buy a broccoli and it's been on the bench for 2 weeks, the vitamin level is going down.
Yeah.
So you want to eat it as fresh as possible. And so around the edge of the supermarket, this is where all your freshest stuff is. On the inside of the supermarket, that's where the shelves are, and that's where most of these highly processed foods are. So if you don't need to force yourself to not eat this and eat that instead, just prioritize shopping on the outside of the supermarket. Get most of your food from there. And then when you do go to the processed foods, let's just start looking at the back. What's in the ingredients? Another rule that he has, which I love and I also follow, try to have something with 5 ingredients or less. And perhaps those ingredients are ones that your grandmother might know. So maybe it's, garlic powder or something, and not one of these really long chemically bound ones that you can't properly pronounce. So 5 ingredients or less, and if you can, know what they are. It's an excellent start. And this is not even you're not being strict. It's just a light rule that you're kind of following, and this will lead you to make different choices. Because you're a healthy person who eats healthy foods, you now shop on the outsides of the supermarket, and this is the process. The result of doing this is going to transform your life.
For sure. For sure, Ms.Alana. Thank you so much for that tips. So, to sum up or wrap up our discussion for today, would you like to plug in something?
Would I like to plug in something? What do you
Yes,
mean by plug in
about your
something?
coaches, about your business. Would you like to tell to the world that you have a nutrition online
I do.
business?
I'm also a mother. So I have a child. I've got 2
Yes.
children. I have 2 children. I am a naturopath. I have an online business where I see patients online and I help them do exactly this. I also have my podcast, Health After 30. So my name's Alana Bonnemann. My website's alanabonnemann.com, and the website is Health After 30. And as everyone can see, I have a small child in my lap now. And I think I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I've been working as a nutritionist now for over 10 years. So it's been a very long journey. And I always thought people should know how to eat healthy. I also thought when I had kids, I don't need to teach them how to eat healthy. I cook healthy, that's enough. But it's not, because I can make them healthy food and they can choose that they only want to eat one little bit. And for anyone who's a parent out there, they also know that it can be really difficult. And this is when it comes to creating the right habits. You can't just model being healthy. You need to have the right habits in how to do that. And so a lot of the work I do, this is why I work with identity and creating habits. It's what we need to do for ourselves and also
Yes.
for everyone else that's watching us and learning from us and also need to learn themselves.
Yes, people. If you want to visit the website of Miss Alana, what is the website, Miss?
Alana Bonnemann. So up the top left, you can see that alanabonnemann.com.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Alana Bonnemann, because if you support her, more coaching to come, more nutrition to come. So let's give her a big hand. Thank you so much, Miss Alana, for being my guest on Food 101.
Thank you so much,
Miss
Daniel.
So, Miss Alana, thank you for your time.
My absolute pleasure.
More to come, people. See you soon.